Today we're analyzing a scene from the season 4 of The Crown. In this scene, Prince Charles finally decides to tell his mother that he wants to divorce Diana. I think the scene is very telling in terms of the nature and dynamics of Prince Charles's relationship with his mother. So let's do a psychological analysis of this mother-son relationship. And hello, if you don't know me yet, my name is Parissa and I'm a psychotherapist providing you with educational videos on relationships and human psychology.
What are you doing here?
I hope you don't mind. I thought we might find a moment alone.
Honestly, both of you.
Both of us.
You and your wife ambushing me everywhere I go, with anxious looks in your eyes wanting to talk.
I do want to talk, Mummy.
So right off the bat, she shows that she actually does feel uncomfortable with Charles being there, and maybe she's even feeling annoyed at him because of her tone and the comment she makes there saying, "What are you doing here?" Just that comment is, I think, enough to make Charles or anyone else feel unwelcomed, and it actually comes off as kind of cold and detached.
We need to talk.
Fine, let's talk. Might I request we do it like privy councillors? On our feet, to keep it brief.
It's the marriage.
Yes, I had a horrible idea we were going in this direction.
So clearly she's feeling annoyed, and notice the transition in her body posture, how she pulls her arms back and actually folds them together. This kind of shows her reluctance to take part in this conversation. So both her body and her tone are aligning here. On the other hand, you can see Charles, he is insisting. He wants to be heard this time, and he wants to talk about things. And he's not going to let her avoid this conversation because this has been a long time coming.
Marriage.
Yes, I had a horrible idea we were going in this direction.
I have done my best. My very best, and I am suffering.
No, you are not suffering. We're all suffering having to put up with this. Let me make something clear. When people look at you and Diana, they see two privileged young people who, through good fortune, have ended up with everything one could dream of in life.
So clearly she's really finding it difficult to hear him. So again, she avoids by wanting from him to keep things brief. Again, this comes off as very detached and dismissive. She's not willing to hear him out. She's not making an attempt to get close to him, even physically. In fact, she kind of hides herself behind the sofa. And on the other hand, he also looks a bit confused, as if he doesn't know how to respond to her dismissive attitude. So he finally gets up and moves towards her to be closer to her, of course with hesitation. He brings up the topic around his divorce, but notice when he's doing that, he's also looking down. So he himself is finding it difficult to bring this topic up.
No one, not a single breathing living soul anywhere, sees cause for suffering.
They would if they knew.
Knew what? They know that you are a spoilt, immature man, endlessly complaining, unnecessarily. Married to a spoilt, immature woman, endlessly complaining, unnecessarily.
Here, Charles is expressing his pain and how much he's actually hurting because of this marriage. In response, his mother outright dismisses him. Instead of validating his feelings and listening to his pain, she minimizes his pain and invalidates his feelings. Now, we all know how much this hurts. When we're pouring our heart out to someone and we're being vulnerable, all we want in that moment is just to be heard and understood and nothing else. Having our feelings invalidated by a significant other is extremely painful. Over time, it can really erode our sense of self-worth and create self-doubt. Now here, when Charles tries to express himself, he's labeled as spoiled, immature, and a complainer. I can imagine hearing all of this, he's feeling quite small inside. But that's how really the Queen sees him, and it's difficult for her to see things from his perspective because of her views maybe on marriage that clashes with Charles's views on an ideal modern marriage.
All anyone wants is for the pair of you to pull yourselves together. Stop making spectacles of yourselves. And make this marriage and your enormously privileged positions in life work.
And if I want to separate?
You will not separate or divorce or let the side down in any way. And if one day you expect to be king...
I do.
Then might I suggest you start to behave like one?
So really, she has no understanding of Charles, and it's hard for her to empathize with Charles because maybe her priority is to protect the monarchy, or her priority is to protect Charles's position as a future king, and that's why she's pushing hard on both Diana and Charles to keep the marriage going. To her, marriage is not a place where two people are emotionally connecting and meeting each other's emotional needs. Marriage may be simply an institution. And I think partly Charles agreed to this marriage in the first place because he had partly internalized his mother's view and values about marriage, regarding the importance of marriage, its function within the monarchy, and so on and so forth. So I think he must have felt kind of conflicted inside. On one hand, wanting to really emotionally connect with his partner and the love of his life, while also trying to fulfill his duties as a potential future king. So she really seems to have a tendency to withdraw and dismiss. In this scene, she turns her back on him, making him feel probably unwanted, showing that she's not willing to engage and continue this conversation anymore. And you can see from his side in response, he's looking somewhat disappointed, maybe even a little bit hopeless, looking down in disappointment and kind of looking like he's given up on this conversation. But I can imagine this is not the first time he's been having these types of conversations with his mother, and not the first time he's feeling shut down by her. This is a familiar feeling for him. It's something that he's probably grappled with, all his life in this family, and he is probably back in the same emotional spot again. And that's a letdown. That's a disappointment. So that's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Let me know what you think of the scene in the comments below. And if you'd like to see more videos like this, subscribe to my channel.